Hey, GutFoxx here. Today we got all about Madden 17 discussion. We've got a few of these videos in a row. Today I'm joined by James. I'll link his channel in the description. How's it going?
It's going good. You got the testing aficionado right here.
Yep, he has a lot of testing videos, very interesting results. Him and he's done halfback, truck sticks, and then hit sticks and speed and a whole bunch of different things. Again, check out Mayamo Bear or James in the description. So we're going to talk about first Madden 17 defensive gaps and run fits. EA Sports has been teasing out some stuff, some pass rushing stuff and ball physics. So let's get first right into their blog. They're talking about the defensive AI and the alignment, assignment, and technique for the alignment of defenses. Obviously, cover 3 defense versus gun trips is up first. They have all these other assignments, and then you can flip play calls automatically with the defensive auto flip. Any thoughts on that, James?
You know, it just seems as though that's going to be off because, like we were just saying, as far as the running backs go, the cone, all of those other features that kind of make it easier on the user, that's all automatically off in All Pro, All Madden, and all online gameplay. So I'd expect to see that auto flip off. And
or online, yeah, definitely. And when you say we just talked about it, that was offline, so everything's new to people right now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But yeah, so the flip plays, you think aligning to run strength and stuff will be off for online gameplay. I don't know if I'm not so sure it will be though, because it looks like it's something they're advertising. Like I think by flipping, they mean like, you know how your nickel back goes from one side of the formation to another.
Yeah.
And then you can base align them back.
Yeah.
I think that might be on. So like, you know, if you go to like 3-4 over, the overside will be to the strength, correct?
Yeah, that's if that's the way they do it, that's perfect because I feel like that's how it should be done. It's kind of frustrating going out and then like you're a nickel, they line up in trips and the corner just won't move or get stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And then like so like I did see them on Twitter. They did say that the linebackers, like the right outside linebackers and left outside linebackers, won't flip to the proper strength. So you can't have like in the NFL they have a strong side and a weak side linebacker. Yeah. You can't really do that. So that's unfortunate to see. Like you can't always put Jamie Collins on the weak side like he is in the NFL. But I guess that's just how the game engine's going to be designed. Maybe in future Maddens, but I don't think it's going to break too many hearts. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. To be honest, Madden is Madden. You have Malcolm Smith, a really small dude who is more of like a weak side cover guy, but he block shed perfectly fine in the game. Really what it comes down to is block shedding, and they don't differentiate too much between a Sam and a Will. The 220-pound linebackers block shed just as good as the 250-pound guys, it seems like anyways.
Yeah, it does seem like next year, because they have Gronk, and Gronk's a big dude, and they have mentioned this in other blogs, that the bigger size guys will make more of a difference in Madden 17, which is kind of exciting. What do you think?
Yeah, as you know from my testing, height and weight does make a big difference in trucking, but I did not find it, like, I think you did your block shedding testing with D tackles, and you found that size didn't make much of a difference there. So it'll be interesting to see if they bring size into everything, or if they just decide to do trucking and block shedding again. Who knows?
Yeah, because it is interesting to see like the balance that they got to give between the ratings on the players and the size of the players. Like Night Train Lane is what 220 pounds with 80 some block shed, but that's as good as like Jamie Collins, who I mean might be only 20 pounds heavier, but like the block shed on a 330-pound defensive tackle that's bronze could be like 64, and Night Train Lane will do better on the defensive line than he will. So it's kind of a strange balance that they got to make between height, weight, and attributes for the kind of stuff that they do. So do you think in Madden 17 will be better for like the bigger guys not be pushed as much?
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm definitely one of those people that pushes for as much realism in the game as possible, and I'd love to see if you're running with Barry Sanders and you go for a truck on a D tackle, I'd love to see Barry Sanders sent to the stratosphere and him fumble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No more Dree Archer running over those guys, size guys. Yeah, you're right. They really shouldn't be able to fall forward. Like Toby Gerhart, I've seen truck my Vince Wilfork before, or Damon Harrison. Damon Harrison does not get trucked in real life.
No, he's a good 350.
He's huge.
Yeah,
like 350 pounds. Gilbert Brown, 400. Well, he's not 400 listed, but he does not get trucked by any running back. Like Brandon Jacobs, say you're 240 pounds, 260 pounds, one of the biggest running backs, you're still going to have a hell of a time trucking a 330, 340-pound man.
Yeah.
So you're right. And then getting off clean, like I've seen happen.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's go on to the defensive run fits and the gap assignments section of this blog post, which will also be linked in the description what we're talking about. So it's the run fits, and then pre-snap you'll be able to see the guys line up and what holes they have. So like a defensive tackle will have a 1 gap, and they said that they will put into 2 gap defensive tackles into the game, which is really cool. Like for those who don't know what 2 gaps are, it's like in a 3-4 base defense. If a defensive tackle's head up on a guy or really in across the line, they control 2 gaps and the linebacker fills off of them. What do you think about that? Do you think that's kind of neat that they're bringing in these run fits?
Yeah, I love this. I don't know if you remember this, but back in NCAA they had this for the offensive line, and I really wanted it to be brought over to the defense. And here we are, Madden 2017. They brought it back, and I'm not sure if they have it on offense yet, but the defensive one is really cool. And the fact that they have 2 gaps is amazing because it makes 3-4 D linemen that much better.
Yeah, yeah. So now also they mentioned in this blog that the linebackers will be able to, like, based on your play rec and how smart your linebacker is, they'll fill in the right hole as the play is developing. So do you think, one, I think that's really neat. 2, do you think it's going to be next year you're going to want to use a safety then because you won't have a run fit assignment? Because you won't be, as a user, you won't screw that up for your defense?
Well, personally, just from what I'm seeing, it seems like play rec's going to be huge. So I'm going to go for a 3-4 with 3 nose tackle kind of guys with high play rec, and then 3 linebackers with play rec, and try and use some fast dude, like an Askew or someone like that, and let them clog it up while I make plays all over the place. Because right now, if you need, having big dudes like that, it's still tough to use her against like inside zone. I feel like inside zone will get killed against us next year if you have 350-pound dudes 2-gapping.
Yeah. It will see, because it does seem like from year to year they do balance plays out. Like in Madden 15, PA end around was huge on the offensive side of ball, and then you had the pistol ace trips and stuff like that. But at 16, those basically got eliminated from the game almost. You do see some strong power or whatnot, but I think next year inside zone, because it was so complained about, will be nerfed a little bit. I think halfback wheel out of the gun split close will be nerfed a little bit. They seem to do this year to year. They take plays down a notch in power level to try to balance stuff. It'd be nice to get it during the year, but inside zone, it will be very interesting. What do you think next year? I mean, with the way I saw their sweeps happen, because did you see we talked about this on Twitter, their sweep with the guard got around and he just completely whiffed on Kuechly. And we had to talk about that. Then EA actually ended up responding to somebody else who mentioned the same thing, saying they fixed that coding error already. So it looks like sweeps might be back again next year because of the way that blocking happened. It looked like wide open except for the one guy missing his assignment.
Well, if we just go back, I know you just said they fixed the coding error as soon as someone said it. Why can't they do that during the year if it's just a simple coding error? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it would be great to see them fix that. But beyond that, I feel we have play rec on defense now. I really wish they'd make awareness do something because it's such an important stat in overall.
Yeah. And you see, based on like salary cap numbers and how much awareness doesn't fit into that, it really doesn't make as much difference as much as, like, say, speed does. But like what you're saying, and them fixing it during the year, I think it's just because it's a spaghetti code and they try to fix what they can, but they only have a couple months to fix things before they have to move on to Madden 17. So they did fix some things, some errors. But this Madden 17 so far, what I'm seeing with all these gap adjustments and all things you're listening to, all the nanos and 4-man rushes. But what I'm excited for, we'll get to that in a second. What I'm excited for as I scroll down further on this blog is the quarters defense. If you go there, like, you see the quarters 3 deep versus goal line. So in quarters 3 deep right now, you can basically base a line, show blitz, and then bring that deep safety down to help support the run. You basically have a very good, if you got good block shedding cornerbacks, a very good defense that a lot of guys are running effectively online. But now in 17, they see you don't have the run fits that you did in 16, which is really cool because guys are defending the pass. What do you think about that?
One thing to bring up is that at the beginning of the year, I don't think quarters would have worked the same as it does now because you don't have all these corners with 80. So I'm really interested to see how this will work at the end of Madden, at the end of MUT, when we have these night train lanes with 80 plus block shed. But I'm all for that. I run dime flat. I know you run dime flat. It's an amazing run defense. I tried that 3-3-5 that Sly runs. but
Yeah,
that didn't stop the run as well as Dime Flat does.
yeah.
So more realism, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, you bring up a really good point there that Madden at the beginning of the game isn't the same at the end of the game. Like, and this is really, I remember in 15 too, everybody, it turned into a huge bitch fest this late in the year because, we had the Kelvin Johnson, the ultimate like Kelvin Johnson. It's the same thing, just going up and catching the ball. This year's, everybody's complaining aggressive catch. Last year was just streaks and face catching. But yeah,
Yeah,
Madden's designed with the beginning of the game. Like in regular teams, you don't see quarters defense being a good defense when and played head to head regular. Um, so I guess you're right. It's kind of like the monster at the end of MUT. We all want better cards, but what does it create for us? We got a Frankenstein.
yeah. Well, I'm right now. My offense is running that 98 Mike Evans, and then the two Memorial Day Vincent Jackson and Fitzgerald, and
Yeah,
it's just throw it up, easy catch. And I use long pass, so they both have all three of them have 96, and it's just unfair. 96 route run.
yeah. It's crazy. Those three. I mean, and it's what we want. Everybody drools over those kind of cards, but then we have to play against them. We're like, man, f these cards. So moving on to technique, a little further down the blog, the improved AI doesn't just stop with gaps. Not only do defenders now have a gap to play, but they also have technique in which to play that gap. I think that's really cool that they're breaking it down that far
Yeah,
into Madden. What you say something?
yeah. Well, I think I've seen in a stream you said you played lineman in high school. I was a lineman in high school. I loved seeing that they're really paying so much attention to the offensive and defensive lineman interactions here, and they're really going in depth. And really, this is exactly what I was asking for, and I'm excited to see how it works once it comes out.
Yeah. Oh man, completely. Like they're like I think I had like a what could Madden improve on next year, and they're hitting a lot of it. Like they did in
Yeah,
15. I had a what can they improve from Madden 16. I went back and watched that video. They hit a lot of it, and they're hitting a lot of what I wanted in Madden 17 here. Basically, O line, D line improvements, zones, everything. So like the new run fit techniques that they're going to use. They're going to use force, cutback, fill, jet, crack, replace, and two gap. So the force defender is basically the outside linebacker or defensive end trying to force the run inside, which is really cool. And so that force defender is like, say Von Miller coming off the edge, he'll set the
yeah.
edge against the run and create like a pocket for the quarterback. And we'll get into that pocket in a little bit with a new tweet they just sent out. But what do you think about this force player, bring them in and this new improvement?
I think this is the end to quick toss and inside zone, just cutting it out. Uh, you know, Having a real force player that holds they say force, but it's really just a contained defender. Their job's to keep everything inside, to force the cutback, force it into the teeth of the defense. And I feel like this is going to really help out with teams that have high hit power linebackers, because that cutback, a juke inside and your hit stick, you're
And
going
then
to fumble.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to say boom.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, boom was the way to end that sentence. That's an exclamation point
But
plus.
yeah, so there's all when you talk about the cutback defender, that they even see it'll be even shown as a C, like
Yeah,
above his name, so you can see the cutback player with the C. That he is the laying the boom. His job is to say with the higher play rec, he'll play more conservative, and so like the inside zone, the power of it is that it's basically an inside zone, up the middle run, outside run, and a basically a counter run all in one.
yeah.
And like so, if you do have that, dime flat, you got the edges covered, that they'll just cut it up the middle somewhere into a hole that they can find. And that's why it's super effective. So having a cutback player able to sit there and wait for that and just hit them will probably hurt that inside zone quite a bit.
And the first thing I thought of here is, sorry to cut you off, but the first thing I thought of is the cutback. You're going to need to watch who your cutback is, because a counter, if you have let's say your corner on the cutback, you run a counter and you're going to have a guard meeting up with your cutback corner. Yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully counters work in Madden 17, because
Yeah. It wasn't so much that they didn't work on the front side, is that the counters are too slow on the back side and a guy would chase
yeah,
them down. I think it was a problem in 16.
hopefully they have an O line, like just the tight end cut block on him or something like that.
That's really cool. So that you brought that up. They also have cut blocks they showed a lot of them. I know you said on Twitter that you didn't like how the cutbacks look. What did you mean by that?
It just really looked like there was no momentum in it. It looked as though the players were running full speed at each other, and then they locked up before the animation started, and then it was the cut block, and it just looked kind of blocky. But to be honest, that's not really gameplay. That's more how it looks. And
Yeah.
as long as it plays and it's fair and makes sense, I'm cool with it. I still play ESPN 2K5 every now and then, and it's horrible graphics and like horrible animations, but I still enjoy it because it's solid gameplay.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the old age-old graphics versus gameplay thing, and I agree with you. I'm there more on the gameplay side, but how many people, even though it doesn't really affect gameplay, have complained about the ball warping through defensive backs' hands and stuff? Say, I know that's new with the ball physics that I think we're going to get into. Is it this one that we're talking about, the ball physics, or another one?
Yeah,
I think it's this one we're talking about, the ball physics. This one's running a little bit long. So,
little.
what's that?
I was saying, yep, a little bit, but we're
Yeah,
figuring out.
we'll talk about ball physics in our next one. So yeah, so I mean, it doesn't affect gameplay, but yeah, I think the graphics are pretty big. Like seeing a fake looking block does kind of take you out of the realism of the game, and the game's trying to simulate realism. It's not like NFL Blitz or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like we were saying, because I was talking about gameplay. I feel like gameplay is more like the way it looks is kind of almost catering to a little bit of a casual player, whereas the gameplay is more like the players that want it to look realistic. I feel
yeah,
like they're finding a happy medium here with some of the new animations I've seen with the D line, because we're talking about the D line here, as well as the more realistic ones that want to see the cutback guys, the force guys, the jets, and well, getting into jet, uh, that is the penetration one, and
yeah,
the first person I thought of was Aaron Donald.
nice, yeah, totally. Well, are they? Yeah, basically defensive linemen. Uh, Getting about J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald. That's a good point. Also could be blitzing linebackers, right?
Yeah, but the jet is really just all about the penetration. So, uh, if you want to run, that's gonna work. Oh, draws. Hopefully, draw actually works now because draw's been horrible. So if you
Yeah,
have
that is true. Go on.
yeah, so if you're playing against a guy who wants to keep running jet and just bringing his Aaron Donalds, his J.J. Watts right up the field, hopefully, draw works like it should, and you can counter that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of going with the line interact. Like the tackles wouldn't drop back far enough to form a pocket. Like that's why draws are so effective in the NFL because speed rushers run around and then the draw just like goes right where they were supposed to be. So yeah, it'd be cool to have draws actually like as a counter to the speed rushers next
Yeah.
year. But let's go down to crack replace. The assignment really shows the dynamic nature of the run fit system. This crack replace defender is a player whose primary job is to support the force player. So the force player gets blocked or cracked down by a blocking wide receiver. Basically, if a wide receiver motions in or runs in and blocks that force player, then the crack player basically replaces over top. So just more of the same, defensive assignments. What do you think about the crack replace?
It's getting into more of the like how important play recognition is going to be, because I could see this playing directly into that. You might have a guy with low play recognition. He doesn't replace how he should, but I just really like it because it shows that the players are out there thinking and they're making adjustments as the play goes on. Because you won't have a guy replacing if the corner, sheds the block, but if he gets pancaked, hopefully you have the guy coming over to replace. And I feel like it's just adding another layer of realism.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it really goes back to what I said earlier. I think the play next year might be to use your safety that doesn't have these kind of responsibilities for crack replace or any play rec needing. I don't know, but we'll see how well the defensive lineman can suck up blocks. And we're talking about blocking near the end. We talked about two gap defenders and that. So we'll move on to the blocking. The stretch. They talk about the stretches and outside zones, basically showing how to create lanes for the ball carrier to read and gaps to fit through for the runners to try to find with a new ball carrier mechanics. What do you think of these upgrades to the blocking that they're talking about?
So the two most interesting ones that I saw were double teams and force blocks. When I think of force blocks, I hope that means that on the goal line, we're going to see them actually trying to get push and drive them back versus just kind of blocking them and creating a hole as they do. I hope the force block is like a real drive. And I hope the double team looks like a double team in real life where they're double teaming up to a linebacker and they're moving and they're interacting like that versus just double teaming and standing there like they normally do.
Yeah, well, I mean, the double team and move out to the linebacker is a successful double team, and I think the standing there is like you failed this double team. His block shed was higher than both of yours,
Yeah.
or it won the dice roll on the double team, so then the linebacker can fill easily. But yeah, you're right. I mean, in I don't I think in the NFL, like a failed double team will be like they double team somebody that gets a chip, and then the guy moves up to the linebacker, but then the defensive lineman can make a play because the chip wasn't good enough, or
Yeah.
the linebacker can run around the extra block for it. But it's not like I think the linebackers like if you watch Luke Kuechly play, and if there's a stretch run, he
He's
basically
gone.
recognizes it before the ball's handed off, and he's out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you just from when I played in high school, it's like a stretch or anything like that. If you it's a double team, it's not even a double team. You're just hitting the dude as hard, like giving him a push with your arm, and you're gone to the linebacker, or else you won't get him.
Yeah, definitely.
I like
Yeah,
to see more stuff like
and
that.
then like the backside guy cuts sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think overall? Are you excited about their O line D line improvements? We'll wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I will say that this is probably my favorite blog post out of all of them. I feel like this will bring the most realism to the game. And like you were saying with realism, you see the double teams. I saw in a couple of the trailer videos that if about before, if it's a one-on-one on a pass, the guard will just stand there. Now I saw him coming in and trying to lay him out, stuff like that. That's what I want to see. I want to see that nastiness. I want to see impact blocking actually do something like a little more.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, so that will be very exciting. I mean, I do see a little bit of that in 16, but you're right, having more of that realism factor in 17 with the pass blocking, and I think we will end it there. Well, James, thanks for being on. Everybody, we will be doing more of these. I'll be posting more of these as the week goes along. So check out once again Mayamo Bayer and James channels in the description. Thanks for hanging out today. I guess I'll see you tomorrow.